Let me grab my clicker. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to hear from you so I can make sure this is relevant. Let me move this. I don't want to get any feedback. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. When I say problems, I'm really curious as to, from an L&D perspective or HR, what are the business challenges or problems people are asking you to solve? Like, what are the biggest things that you have that you may not think training is really the right thing to do, but no matter what we try in L&D, our stakeholders are always thinking training is always going to solve the problem, right? It's the magic pill. So what are some things, if you guys could just shout out, what are some things that are currently, that you work on in that regard?
Product quality.
Product quality.
Change management.
I'm teaching a workshop at the Gaylord tomorrow and Thursday on change management.
Changing some kind of negative behavior.
Changing negative behavior. Change. What kind of strategy?
Need more.
Need more. I love that. That's a smart goal.
We're too busy. I don't have enough time.
Innovation.
Okay. You don't have enough time to do any of these things.
No. People tell me I'm too busy. I don't have enough time.
So they want you to solve their
Time problems because they can't organize their time or their day.
I hate that term. Time management.
Help us
Tell
build
me
more trust.
what to do instead of how to do it.
Oh, okay. What, not how. I want to go back to the time management so you know why I just said that. We all have the same amount of time in a day. It's not about, we're not managing time, we're managing priorities. So I really upset an employer once when I said, I'm not doing time management. I'll do prioritization and help people select priorities, but there's no way I'm doing time management. All right, I'm saving these here for later, but also if any of these resonate with you from people that are at your tables, this is a great time from a networking standpoint because other people might have share the same problems that you have. So I like, from a networking standpoint, to talk to people that have similar problems to see what's worked, what hasn't worked. I mean, obviously we have to customize things to our own culture, our own industry, but most of the time we're not reinventing the wheel, right? Okay, so I'm not a slide reader. If you want, be happy to. This is the required learning objectives that I needed in my presentation to be accepted as a speaker here. Check. You can hold me accountable. We're going to hit all of them. I hate PowerPoints. I'm doing the PowerPoint because I was asked to. I'd rather just talk, but I know I'm a visual learner. There's your visual. All right, I'm going to take a poll before I take a poll. Do you want this poll to be on Poll Everywhere so you could see everyone's responses? It's all anonymous. I set it up so it's anonymous. Or do you not want to have to bother going to use technology? You just want to raise your hand when I ask a question. Show of hands for raise your hand. Show of hands for polling. We're raising hands. Thank you. You made my life easier. You know how hard I worked on that Poll Everywhere? Because you know what? If I was born 1 year earlier, I'd be a Gen X. So I'm really not happy about how I'm not supposed to be good with technology. Okay. My question, the poll is, I hate doing this by hands, but we'll do it. If one of your internal stakeholders came to you and said, I have 80% turnover in my department, 80% is a huge problem. Now, in a normal organization, how many of you, show of hands, would agree 80% is a problem? Okay, how many would say it's not a problem? How many of you would say, I think this is a trick question, I'm afraid to answer? Okay, so 80% turnover is not a problem. What is it? It's a symptom. What's causing the turnover is the problem. So one of the bold, crazy statements I'm going to make here today is you don't need to worry about problems. I know you think I'm nuts, but I'm telling you right now, by the end of this, my goal is to convince you problems are not what you should be focusing on. What you have been focusing on traditionally are symptoms, not even the problem. You're dealing with surface level issues that are very transactional. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bash anyone's methodology here, but it's traditionally because a lot of our stakeholders come to us and make these demands. We know they're unreasonable. We might not be able to push back. We might not have the credibility. We haven't built the relationships, and we're just saying, yes, Miss CHRO, I'll be happy to create that program. I'm going to give you a great example in a little bit, which caused me to create this workshop because I really got tired of those conversations. What I'd like you to do is focus on the goal. Change the tenor of the conversation. So we're not necessarily focused on the problem or the symptoms. We need to know what they are, but we really want to get our stakeholders to articulate for themselves what's the goal? What's the measurement? How do we know my program was successful? Because the last thing I want is to create a program that addresses a symptom and you come back to me in 6 months or a year and say, yeah, Keith, your program sucked. It didn't do anything I wanted it to do. And I'm sitting there thinking, because training wasn't the right intervention or it wasn't the only intervention, right? So unless we're having those conversations up front and we're being more consultative with our requesters, we're always going to be on this hamster cycle of we're just pushing out training and we become a compliance department. It's a check the box, we're not making real impact. So this talk is, how do we do that? Okay, so what we've usually said is my problem is, let's not do that anymore. We may want to go to, well, what's the business challenge we're addressing? Or more importantly, what's the goal? Okay, now this is the reason why I asked if anyone's worked at anywhere I've worked before, because ignore the bottom left corner. That was just my kind of ticker to know what story to tell you. So NMG doesn't relate to any high-end retailer based in Dallas here. So if you go on my LinkedIn profile, you'll see all the companies I've upset. So I had the CHRO of this anonymous company come to me one day and say, hey, Keith, our NPS scores are really low. Our customer sat scores are low. Can your team create training to improve them? And my response was, well, give me an example. What's your lowest performing category? And she said, friendliness. Now, I don't play poker for a reason. I'm sure the look on my face was, what the what? I said, okay, let's play this out here. How do you, I said, well, the first thing I said to her was, okay, let me understand the ask here. You want me to teach grown adults how to be nice to one another. And I'll edit what she said because she was neither humane nor resourceful. Her comment back was, that's the stupidest blanking thing I've ever heard of. I said, okay, great, we're on the same page. Can I ask a couple questions? Sure. What does friendliness mean? Well, what do you mean? I mean, what's your definition of friendliness? What are the behaviors that make up friendliness? So as an example, are we calling out the clients, customers by name? Are we pointing where they should go, or are we escorting them? Are we handing them their bags over the counter, or are we walking out from behind the counter and giving them their credit? Oh, I don't think we've ever defined that. Oh, okay. Let's follow this. So if we've never defined what the behaviors are that make friendliness, how do you know you're hiring friendly people? So you're not necessarily interviewing for that. And by the way, no one knows how to behavioral interview here because I didn't teach it yet. And then if we're not necessarily hiring friendly people, how are we managing to that standard or developing to that? And she's like, okay, I get it. She said the magic words, this is bigger than just training. I said, yes, and you want to know how big it is? Yeah. I said, there's one of your stores where there's a sales professional that sells $3 million a year. It's called a $3 million book. And she has been heard saying to new hires, because we're a family and it's teamwork and it's all about the store's numbers. And she was overheard telling a new hire, yeah, if you ever greet my customer again, I'll cut you. 100% commission. What are the behaviors you are incentivizing? You're incentivizing a cutthroat, individualistic culture. Oh, comp needs to change. Yeah, well, you're 100% commission. What do you think these people are going to do? Oh, okay. So if I was just the order taker and just said, yes, ma'am, be more than happy to do that, couple things. One, miss the mark completely. Two, I'd be fired in under a year because my training program wouldn't have addressed what the problem was. And the problem was friendliness. That's not the problem. That's something that's getting in the way of the goal. Does that make sense? Of course it does. I don't know why I say that. Okay, so I needed a way to create some type of framework so I could have this conversation with C-level and get them to stop coming to me saying, I need training, right? So I came up with this medical model. It's based on graduate work I did. People know what the medical model is. But it's just a linear and logical framework. And it's funny because I do a lot of work in healthcare now. So in a normal world, would anyone walk into their doctor's office and say, hey, doc, I need a discectomy at L4, L5? Does that sound normal? Hey, Bueller, this is interactive. I need something. Okay, thank you. So why the hell are you coming to me saying you need training? I'm supposed to be your organizational expert on this stuff. Why can't you come to me and say, I have a problem, I want to achieve this, or I have a goal we need to meet, can you help me? Completely different conversation. So let's go back to the back issue, which I have busted discs at L4, L5. If I go to the doctor's office, if I have this issue, what's the conversation start with? My back hurts. My back hurts. Why are you at the doctor's office? My back hurts, right? Okay, what's it preventing you from doing typically, right? Well, I want to work out more. I want to go skiing in 6 months. Right? What's the goal? I want to work out. I want to go skiing. I want to do these activities. Okay, what are the symptoms? Well, my back hurts. I just told you that. I'm afraid to sneeze. If I look too quickly to the left, I'm locked up for 3 days, right? Just gonna go through all the symptoms. What does the doctor do? He's gonna do some tests, some diagnostics, right? Gonna do some strength tests, might have me try to bend over, I'll never get up again. He's gonna send me first to an x-ray because you can't get the MRI that you should be getting first until you get the x-ray because healthcare wants the money. So you get the x-ray, you get the MRI, and then the doctor takes all of that results and makes a diagnosis. And the diagnosis might be, Keith, you got blown discs at L4, L5. Great. What are we going to do about it? Well, we can do some back surgery. We could do a discectomy. We could fuse those. Yeah, I've heard horrendous things about back surgery. There's no way I'm doing that. Okay. Well, we could give you steroid injections quarterly. That will minimize the pain, and you might be pain-free, for 3 to 6 months every injection. Well, that sounds pretty good, but I'm deathly afraid of needles. Okay, here's some ibuprofen and ice, and just keep numbing yourself up and you'll be fine, right? But that's what we should be doing internally as an organization. If we came out and said, well, we need a new HRIS system. Why? Because the data's terrible, it's antiquated, it's on-premise, we're going to the cloud. This could be LMS, it could be talent management, it could be anything. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, we didn't budget for that. Oh, well then I need some more headcount because we got to do all this data validation and cleanup to run reports. Yep, nope, not getting any headcount, wasn't in the budget. Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to train the managers on self-service. Oh, that I could live with, that's no cost. Did I address the problem? No, the problem remains in both those examples. I still have blown discs. I still have a crappy HRIS. But we found the workarounds that everyone agreed to address the symptoms, but more importantly, meet our goal. So now we're giving the organization the tools to make an informed decision to say, I am not going to get you a new HRIS system, but I will support you in training everyone on this or whatever. So again, the problem remains, we address the symptoms, we reach our goal. That's what we should be doing. And let me just say this. This is all my opinion. You could sit there and go, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, and you want to go do something else? Fine. I mean, this is just one idiot's opinion who happened to get approved to speak. So it's worked for me, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, so if it could work for me, I think it would work for anybody. Okay, stop focusing on the problem. Focus on the goal. What we should be identifying is what is preventing us from reaching the goal. So in most times, we need to help our stakeholders create a SMART goal or define what that goal is. So here's my example, and for someone in the back of the room, I should have put AFF, but I didn't. So I have my CRO, which is Chief Revenue Officer. Chief Revenue Officer came to me one day at a financial services company and said, hey Keith, I need you and your team to create a sales training program. Now, this is why I've been a director for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, because I'm really snarky and sarcastic and people don't often enjoy that corporately, which is why I run my own show now. So to the CRO, when he asked me to create a sales training program, my response was, why? And he said, well, we don't have one. And I went, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Do you have salespeople? Yeah. Are they selling? Yeah. Okay, tell me again why you need a sales training program. Well, they're not selling enough. I think they could do better. Oh, okay, what's better mean? Oh, okay, well, the new hires are selling $29,000 worth of product 30 days out of training. They can do better. And I'm like, Ed, you're killing me. Okay, better means if you could double that, I'd be happy. Great, so let's recap. You're not coming to me asking to create a sales training program. You're asking me to help you have new hires, 30 days out of training, sell $60,000 worth of product. Yeah, that's what I need. If you could do that, I'll love you. You have all the credibility in the world. I'll support anything you want to do. Awesome. By the way, when we were done, they were selling $130,000 worth of product 30 days out. And the reason was we didn't focus solely on the training. We focused on compensation. We focused on recruiting. We focused on incentives. We focused on infrastructure, IT support, even some of the legal contracts about the products. We got the right people involved, so we had a team dedicated to addressing the goal and having a holistic solution, not just the training guy coming up with a PowerPoint telling everyone what they should do when it's never going to meet the mark of the goal. So in my mind, we have to start building the confidence and the capability, not necessarily to push back, but to push back and educate and let them come to the realization themselves that, okay, maybe this is a bigger problem than training, which is what I love to hear. Okay, so Tina's going to start passing something out. We're going to do a kind of a mini case study in a bit. But this is the framework. So, and when you receive these papers, please just don't start reading them while I'm talking. Just wait, and I'll give you directions, and then you could pretend it's those blue exam books that we had in the 80s. Don't turn them over and start on them. Or they're turned over. Okay, so what is your goal? You should have a short-term goal and a long-term goal, right? What does that mean? It should be a SMART goal. List your symptoms, right? And think of this from the back analogy, right? What are the symptoms? What is getting in your, how do you know you have a problem? And then by listing them out numerically, symptom 1, symptom 2, symptom 23, I now can start to diagnose what are those symptoms telling me that is my problem or my root cause. So when I create my problem statements, The problem statement should include every one of those symptoms. So I've addressed everything. So as an example here, problem 1 might have symptom 1 and symptom 2. Problem 2 might have symptom 3, right? You might have more than one problem, obviously. But now this gives me a linear, structured framework to work through to ensure I'm addressing everything I can to uncover what the barriers are to success. Any questions about this so far? Finally, what's the action plan? Who's going to be involved? There's going to be a training component. There's always a training component, but it might not be the only thing, right? People are coming to you to begin with because there's probably some aspect that's training. I did find once. Someone came to me at this financial services company and said, the sales reps are telling potential clients that we have a same as cash product when we don't, because there's fees associated. There's late fees, there's application fees. So legally, we can't say same as cash, or we're going to get nailed by the regulators. We'd get millions in fines, put us out of business. You need to train the sales professionals on this. I went through my format, and what I found out was legal didn't realize that there were some products that had same as cash language that were kind of grandfathered in. So I got on a call, I got IT, I got the chief revenue officer, I got the COO, and I got the chief legal officer. And I went, y'all discuss amongst yourselves. What do you want to do? And the result was, oh, well, I guess on the ops side in the call center, we could have a dedicated team that just handles those inbound calls for those few products. Legal, I guess we're going to start changing our wording on our contracts so we don't do that anymore. Sales, yeah, well, we didn't do anything wrong and we have no idea why we're sitting here right now. Okay. Training, nothing. Because the call center was going to take a couple expert people that already knew their product and was going to have IT. They're going to do an IVR, so when the calls come in, they're routed to the specialized team that can handle those questions. I walked away going, that was the easiest project I ever worked on. Hardest part was scheduling all those C-suite people together on one call. But typically, there's going to be a training component. Okay, so I want to take you through an example, and if you can't see it in the back, my short-term goal is reduce turnover by 20% year 1, and then my long-term is reduce it by 50% into year 2, continuous improvements until we get less than 20% year over year. From what I said at the very beginning about the 80% turnover and how I felt about that, do you see an issue with this? Why do you want to reduce turnover? Tell me, why do you want to reduce turnover? It's expensive. Okay. So if I reduce turnover, if I took that 80% and I moved it to 75, can I pat myself on the back? I reduced it by 5%. I saved money. You told me that was the goal. Right? So what I'm saying is challenge the goals. Right? I would say if and I'm waiting for it because it's going to happen, someone's going to come to me and say, I need you to reduce turnover, and I'm going to have to put on a straight face, which is going to be really hard for me. And I'm just saying, okay, help me understand what is it you're looking for the reduction to accomplish. And if it could be something like, well, we're losing all of this institutional knowledge, it's leaving. Okay, why is that a problem? Oh, well, it's impacting patient care and our scores have gone down. Great. So it's not the turnover necessarily, it's you want me to focus on what do I need to do to ensure our patient care numbers don't go down. I may address turnover as part of that, but I'm not solely focused on turnover for the sake of turnover. You're going to put blind spots on if you're only focusing on what they're telling you to focus on. Are we all L&D? Most of us L&D? We sit in the best part of the organization because people come to us with their problems. We get to scan the entire environment and then tell people how to fix them. And what we need to stop doing is just what my former CHR used to say is sheep dipping. oh, we'll just throw everyone in a training class. Okay, that's not going to work. We know that's not going to work. Okay, so this is a crap example I'm showing you because I don't agree that reducing turnover should ever be the goal. It should be something, what is the lack of reduction preventing us from doing, or what is it causing? That's our ultimate goal. But in a normal world, we're going to go through our little exercise because one of my commitments was you're going to leave here with the confidence to apply this. So we're going to apply it. That's why I talk fast, because I want to get through the content so you can actually do something with it. So why? Because you probably should have heard me with all the whys I was just asking. Okay, so let's tie this back to what we were saying with the back. And instead of me looking up at the screen, I'm going to go to my laptop. So I want my back to be pain-free so I can work out again. That's my goal. And maybe it's I want to be back in the gym within the next 4 months because I want to lose 50 pounds by the next 6 months. Okay, so what are my symptoms? I got pain in my lower back, I can't bend over, when I sneeze it locks up, I'm unable to, those are all my symptoms. Okay. Blown discs at L4, L5 is the diagnosis, and then here are my options: surgery, steroid injection, ice and Advil. So whenever we go through our format, we can relate this medical model to whatever we're doing. So what we're going to do now, oh, we've got time. I am so excited. This is usually a 3-hour workshop, by the way. So we're racing through this to give you guys time. So we're going to spend the next 20 minutes, because we got plenty of time, at your tables. You can do one of two things. You're going to apply the framework to this case study that I've given you. And I'll leave this up here for your reference. This is what you're going to use as the framework. Or you can use one of your current challenges that you have. And you could talk to the people of the team. Maybe 2 people want to work on the case study. You want to do, it's fine, whatever you guys want to do. I just want to give you the time to practice applying. And then you can all yell at me in 20 minutes because this isn't going the way I thought it was going, or tell me, oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Either way. So we talked about product quality, change management, changing negative behaviors. More strategy to me is they could sell more, right? So how are you going to redefine these problems as goals? That's the first challenge, right? So in this little, I call it a case study, but it's just an activity. I wrote something up on retail. It has no way, shape, or form representing any high-end retailer here in Dallas. Let's get that clear. I have an NDA, I don't want to get in trouble. Read through that, and you could make educated guesses or inferences about what you want the goals to be. So I arbitrarily, as an example, came up with the turnover reduction numbers. You could do the same for your exercise. So either use what Tina's passed out, or use your own. We're going to go until 10 of. So you can break, you can do this. Raise your hand because I'll walk around and give you hints if you need it. I'm not doing it for you because, that'd be too hard. So any questions before we start? Awesome. Okay. You can touch those papers now. At their tables. At your tables are fine.
I mean, when you ask questions, do you want to do it by section or just by table?
I'm just going to let them raise their hands.
Popcorn.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Do you want me to give them the microphone when they're talking?
Yeah, it'd be great. Thank you. Hey, so how's it going so far? Any feedback?
Yeah. What? Feedback?
Any feedback?
Oh, from yours?
Yeah.
I'll say yours is, you're very direct. You're very candid, so you get to the point.
Yeah.
Compared to the first speaker that I went to. So that's why you're very much either early or you're very much on time, but you get to the point. And it's very needed.
That's how I like it.
Especially afternoon session.
Good. I hate going to presentations where I'm like, can I please get something out of this? You're staying too high. Get where I need
I'm
it.
glad you're kind of sticking to the point, just to slide, move on, versus video and done. And it's like,
Yeah, that doesn't work for me. Thank you. Thanks for coming, buddy. It's two-sided, by the way, so if you get to the end of page 1, turn it over. How's it landing?
Good.
Yeah?
I think it's a good model.
Okay.
Not anybody, they're all catching up with this.
The reading? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
on-the-job trainer isn't doing that successfully, the new hires aren't going to know what it takes to make the sale. So we need to, from the beginning, set the on-the-job trainer up to therefore train the new hire correctly, which will then produce sales moving short. Am I doing this right?
I don't.
You tell me. Increase sales by how much? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. How's it going? Does this make sense to everybody? Is it?
Makes sense, it makes sense, but there's a lot going on. I probably go in there and say, let's subtract this, define what your sales are, let's start over, let's start displaying all over because it's not a training issue.
No, it's not a training issue at all.
But this gives you a way to have that conversation, right? It's not just, I'm not doing that training. That's ridiculous. It's, no, let's walk through this.
Well, yeah, you got to.
Okay.
You got to start with the management. You have to start with management. Sit down and have a conversation with management. So you told me it was weak. You told me it was weak sales. What is your expectation of weak sales? You find what weak sales are for me. What is your expectation of what do they sell?
Yeah. Okay. Is this helpful? Is this good? Okay. Look, I'm always trying to make sure this is, because I know it works for me, but I've never, like, no one's ever come back and go, hey, by the way, that really worked for me. So I don't get any feedback. So if you guys apply this, like, there'll be a contact slide. Like, let me know how it works. Hello. Hello.
Okay, so I think I'm confused. I'm not going to say we all. I can speak for myself.
Okay.
We're having problems with determining the symptom versus the problem, right?
Okay.
Because to me, the problem is that they don't know how to do it. The symptom is they were never trained to do it, right? Or am I doing it backwards? We picked our own topic.
So it's fine. So if somebody doesn't know what they're doing,
Right.
why don't they know what they're doing?
The problem is why don't they?
Because how do you know there's a problem? How do you know I have a discectomy? My back hurts. How do you know that they weren't trained to do it? They're not executing. They're not doing something. So it's what's causing them to not be able to do that would be the problem. So think of it as why, like what's the dependencies? Does that help?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Is this good?
Yeah.
It's helpful?
Hey, I want to talk to you later if you got time.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm probably going to hang out for the happy hour too.
Okay, cool.
Okay. You guys good? Does your head hurt yet?
It started hurting at 9 a.m.
Oh, okay. I'm sure I'm adding to it, but
No, it's great. It's just a lot of brain power.
yeah. Which, yeah, it should be, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How's it going?
It's going.
Does this help? Does this make sense? Does it add value?
I like the goalie. Thinking about goals.
Okay.
It helps us refocus because I think that there's in any organization there's a lot of problems that you could sit and list out all day, and I think it's actually what are we trying to yeah.
Cool. Good. I'm glad.
We have solved world peace at this stage.
Awesome. Is anybody's head ready to explode trying to go through this? Because I get a headache every time I try to apply it. Because I'm always trying to go, why, like, where does it end?
Well, where does it begin? Because, I mean, we've already identified it's at the top level that has set this culture, and I think there's some intervention in it, more than just training, awareness, coaching, all the pieces there.
But you got to start with, if we apply anything, how do we know we're successful? What's the goal?
That's true.
So you can't just say, we want to change the culture. How would you know the culture changed?
Yeah, that's true. That's the goal.
How y'all doing? Good. Is this helpful? Are you able, or is your head ready to explode, or?
We decided we need at least 3 years to fix the problem.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, they're very, when we get involved in some of these, they're systemic. It's going to take, but when you start to get in the weeds, you realize it's not all on you.
What's interesting, I find, is a lot of leaders will often, they know this stuff and you bring it to their attention but they have this mindset of, I still want you to fix it, right? But the reality is, I need
Right.
you to fix it.
But here's and the other reality for me is, great, I've told you all of this needs to happen. I control this piece. More than happy to do it. It's not going to work. I don't want you coming to me in a year telling my training sucked.
I always end my summary or my proposal with, so this is what it will do, and this is what it won't.
Right.
It's because if that's what you're expecting and that's part of your outcome, I'm telling you now that unless we shift from year to year, it's not happening.
That's great. That should be the conversation. Yeah. But then they make, again, it goes back to, I don't want surgery. I don't want needles. Okay. You don't want this. You don't want that. I can give you this, but I'm not addressing your goal. I'm not going to be able to achieve your goal.
It's funny that you say that because then often it happens when you have that either yes but or no or use. Then you become like you can't fix you're not like no. We're not talking about.
Right.
I've worked for very few organizations who were willing to come to you, which is why I came to the session, as a trusted advisor. I mean, and I've worked for organizations where I worked for 10, 15 years doing this kind of work, and they're still pushing back. And I've had successes. So here's a division that actually listened.
Right.
And when you said you wanted to decrease the talk time of pharmacists, we started to look at, well, what does a pharmacist do? Once the moment they get on the phone to the moment they hang up the phone, what do they do? Well, one of the things we noticed was pharmacists were going to 15 data bank repositories to find answers to SOPs. Well, when we added up all of that data, that was adding on 8 to 10 minutes of talk time. Why don't we have one repository?
It's a technology issue.
It's not a training issue.
Right.
Only technology.
But they're making the decision not to address it. Then okay.
Because the paradigm shift comes when they decide they're willing to change.
When it's painful, it's so painful they want to change.
When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah. To your point, what I try to do is I find an ally in the organization that will allow me to do something, pilot it, isolate my impact, and then show them the business results. Like, I have a whole other presentation about why I hate Kirkpatrick.
Okay, can you actually? There's so much. Yeah, hang on.
I'll give you a slide to connect with me.
We have a goal by the end of the year to try to figure out another training solution or evaluation solution other than Kirkpatrick.
Talk to me.
You know something else.
Let's connect, because I don't use Kirkpatrick. I use what is the goal. If I'm developing my program to fix the goal, I'm going to isolate it. I'm going to pilot it. So all the variables, the only difference is my training. So I could show you what I've done with teams where I've taken a leadership team of a store or division, I put them through my intervention, and their sales rose 5 points higher than stores that didn't go through my training. That's how you get the credibility. It's speaking their language, not L&D language. No one wants to. My CFO, my CEO don't care about Kirkpatrick. They don't care. And honestly, right now where I'm helping, they want it's engagement scores and it's completions. And I'm not giving you completions. On the compliance side, I'll give you completions. On everything else, no. And if you can't articulate why it's important, then tell me why I'm doing the training. So, all right. Thank you, guys. We got a couple more minutes. Yep, about 3 more minutes. So finish up your conversations, please. No. Because it's different for every organization. It's different based on your goals. The main takeaway here is now you have a structured format to work through, so you're not just throwing something against the wall hoping something sticks. You're accounting for everything. So as long as you're getting the key here, what is your goal? It should be a SMART goal. How do you separate and differentiate symptoms from problems? If you could do those, you're golden.
That's
Okay, we'll talk about it. Thank you.
If we had time.
Oh, we're going to have time.
Okay, perfect.
That's, I mean, I hate going to presentations where I just get like the top level theory and no one's like, no, I need to know. So I want to make sure we have time.
By the way, I looked her up. She's an HR business partner, so she is.
Oh, really? She went to HRBP?
Yeah. So,
Oh.
they have training, 2-week training. One of my peers just took that role there too. So yeah, they're on the 22nd floor.
She's great.
Oh, okay. So my
I worked with her at Neiman's. She worked for me at Santander. She's got her master's in OD. She's got her coaching certification. She's sharp.
That's awesome.
But she gets bored if she's not like challenged to do things. Like,
I love who she rolls up to. He's really
awesome.
awesome.
Great. Good. Did I? Yep.
Just about 15 minutes, I'm going to show you a card. 15 minutes, and then 10 minutes, I'll show you cards just so you heads up.
Perfect.
You want me to start handing out the microphones? Whoever you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, I'm gonna ask for them to kind of report back, and then we can go into specific questions. All right, can y'all finish up and bring your attention back up here, please? I don't do the whole clap thing, so. I am thrilled you guys are having such robust conversations, but let's stop it. We're gonna have them together now. All right. What'd y'all think about this exercise? Hard? Your brain hurt? Is it hard in a good way? One of the challenges, I was talking to a table, one of the challenges they said was really trying to understand the difference between symptoms and problems. Did you all find that? Yeah, good luck with that. I'm kidding. Again, going back to the back analogy, let's think, like, my back hurts. Great. That's the symptom. What is causing that back to hurt is the problem. What is it preventing me from doing is the goal. Those are the three key things, right? The goal is, if I didn't have these problems, I'd be successful. What does success look like? How are we managing it? So the symptoms are always caused by an underlying problem. And the way to get to that really is why? Now, we don't want to sound like a 5-year-old at work going, why? All right, you're going to look like an idiot. But we can ask thoughtful questions to kind of prompt those responses, right? I just went through a coaching certification, and all they let me do is ask questions, and it drove me nuts because I'm like, I know the answer. I just want to tell the person the answer. That's not how we coach. So how can you coach a stakeholder? I want you to reduce turnover. Oh, that's great. Can you help me understand why that's important to you? Well, what do you mean? Reducing turnover is extremely great. Well, what will that do for us as an organization? Like, why is that a focus? Well, it's preventing us from doing A, B, C, whatever. Okay. So what are all the things that are the obstacles in the way of success? Those are really the symptoms. What's causing those symptoms are the problem. Does that help? You're not going to get it when you leave here today. You're going to have to work this muscle, and that's why I wanted to give you at least one activity to do here so we could talk through it, and then work on your own. I mean, I still have to sit there and figure out when I'm doing, I created this thing, and I still struggle with, am I sure that's a symptom? And I always have to go back to my back analogy. Okay, so for those that did the activity that I handed out, I want to hear from some people. What were the short and long-term goals that you came up with? Anyone? Yeah. Bueller, somebody? I can't call on these guys. I told them I wouldn't.
home because we would tear apart whatever we said, and yet I have volunteered anyway. So I guess I have some bravery or foolishness, one or the other. We struggled with goal, and really we only kind of got a sort of vague-ish long-term goal, which was sort of two-part. We wanted to develop a company culture that promotes mutual cooperation and respect, and that we wanted employees to be happy to get to work, where they felt engaged and that fearfulness was eliminated.
That's a mouthful. So my question back would be, how are you measuring success?
We didn't get that far.
Okay. And I think that needs to be part of creating the goal, because if you can't measure success, why are you doing it? It's the same thing with creating training programs. If I don't know what the business impact is going to be, like, oh, we just want people to be happy and have fun. Okay, we're going to offer scuba diving lessons. I'm in financial services. Why would we? Well, because you didn't tell me what you really want. So that's where the consultative side really comes out. And our focus, because I'm telling you, every time when I have these conversations with stakeholders, they can't articulate the goal. They do not. They know what the problem is, but they don't know what the goal is. Or actually, they know what the symptoms are in a lot of cases. So again, when I went through my sales training example, it was me pulling out from him, what does more mean in sales? Like, what is the number? Like, how am I gonna make you happy? How do we know that this has been successful? There has to be some metrics behind it. And I hope I don't offend anyone. And I say that, but I really don't care if I offend anyone. Let's face it, for those that know me, they're like, he's lying. I find Kirkpatrick totally useless outside of L&D. To me, my CEO, my CFO, my COO, my CHRO don't give a hoot about Kirkpatrick. What do they care about? The business. They care about, did I solve the business problem? And I'm changing that to, did I achieve the business goal? Because we can still have the problem and still achieve our goal. We're gonna, and that's a huge takeaway I want people to be comfortable with, because if you're looking for problems in organizations, you're gonna be busy. They're everywhere, right? So helping these requesters really kind of rethink what they're trying to achieve. And I have that conversation. Look, I'm here to please you. Like, I'm here to get the job done. How are we going to celebrate success if we haven't defined what success looks like? Now, you tell me, is success me creating a sales training program? Or is success us defining what that increase in sales looks like for these new hires? No one's going to say no to that. You're going to be supported in that. Now, one table had the challenge of, and this happens, you're going to run into leaders that no matter how persuasive, articulate, structured you are, they're going to go, create a training program. There are people like that. There are people like that in organizations that I've worked with. I pivot and I find someone that is open to testing what I can do for them. And I pilot, and then they become my internal cheerleader. And it's usually somebody on the C-suite, because they'll go back to their peers and go, you guys are using them wrong. You're using that team wrong. Like, here's the data. Here's the actual impact they've made. And it's not, we have 100% compliance in our annual, whatever, BMA, AFL, ASL. I don't do finance anymore. So you're probably, it takes time to win people over, but it's been my passion to get organizations to look at training differently. We're not the training group, right? We're really L&OD in most respects, because we're helping them diagnose what their issues are. We're helping them create holistic solutions, and ultimately we're making the business impact. Anyone else want to share their short and long-term goals, please? Oh, come on.
Share ours.
Thank you.
We came up with, it's the EVP, ooh, is it
Hello? The EVP of retail sales wanted us to increase sales, so those are our goals. Short-term goal, increase of 15% within 6 months. Long-term goal, increase of 10% year over year.
What do we think of that? Spot on, right? It was a smart goal, right? What was the number? When do we want it done by? Is it realistic? Is it achievable? Right? Is it measurable? That's good. Awesome. Anyone, just tell me what your overall, you don't have to go through your specific goals, but kind of a general theme. What do you think the overall goal is? And then what are your symptoms that are actually prevent or helping you recognize that there are barriers to achieving that? So Chris.
Toxic work environment.
That's a symptom. How do we know it's a toxic work environment?
I'm summarizing it, but some of the team member feedback, not getting performance reviews, favoritism, oh, I have to suck up rather than be good at my job, all those other, unclear expectations, the sales forgives all sins. That's beautiful.
If you ever worked in retail, you hear that all the time.
Yeah,
Do we agree those are symptoms?
yeah.
Absolutely. Those are symptoms. What's causing those are the problems. What did you come up with? How did you, keep it. I know her, I can give her a hard time. How did you aggregate those symptoms into their underlying causes? So give me your S1, your S2, and then what's the problem statement that is causing those? Did you get that far?
Well, some of the like I said, symptoms, S1 is the managers lacking, thank you, I was trying to remember all this stuff. No structured or consistent one-on-ones, manager favoritism, slow, outdated technology, unclear expectations, managers not holding the team accountable for not addressing issues. So the problem statement would be, what would you say the problem statement of?
There's probably more than one.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems there. Well, I mean, the problem statement was that, like summarizing Cliff Notes, is it's a toxic work environment where people are uncomfortable raising concerns. Innovation isn't happening because they're squashed. It's just sell. The part in the story about why should I focus on developing that's only going to eat into my sales goal, my bonus, that's more, all of those things, those are not trainable in large part. It's compensation, it's fish rots from the head down. There are basically, once those other things are addressed, then we can see if there's other training things, but until those symptoms and problems are addressed, there's nothing that training can do. In fact, will probably cause training to lose credibility because it's seen as whatever, let me check my phone and you're keeping me away from my sales.
Okay. Did anyone who did this activity come up with an action plan on how to address their problems? Hold on, she's got a... Nope, I don't think she wants it.
Well, I know we were discussing possibly, especially with the leadership, guiding them through a plan of professional development. First of all, professional development, and then because you have to start from the top, because it seems like the issues are from the top, and I think if those issues can really, the problems and the symptoms can be worked on or even improved at that time, and then at that time you can go ahead and start to treat the symptoms.
If you address the problem, you're treating the symptoms. Okay, that's key. I would say, would we say that a lot of these symptoms add up to managers don't know how to manage? Okay, so what can we do about that?
Set a policy and procedures. I would go in there and define policy and procedure, what the standard expectation is for sales, and then everybody will have to be accountable. But you cannot hold people accountable to something you cannot clearly define what they should be accountable for.
Right, you have to tell them what the goals are, set the expectations, right? I would say for most organizations, I know this is a generalization, but it's been my experience that most organizations, what they do is they take really high-performing individual contributors and they promote them to supervisory positions, and then they wonder why they can't supervise. We're doing it like, this is why leadership development is such a huge industry. We're idiots about it. How about training these people before you actually promote them with the right expectation? Because they're just modeling these transactional behaviors of those that went before us. And if you have a toxic work culture that, well, you know, Joe got promoted and he throws stuff at his buyers, allegedly true story, but he's really good with what he buys, so we're promoting him. But he's just perpetuating that. What's the message we're sending to other people that want that same career path? It's, oh, I need to be a jerk. I need to be a bully. It's perfectly fine around here. So setting the expectations, setting the standards, having good performance management, and then, I don't know, maybe training managers on how to manage would be some good action planning. Does anybody have anything different that they came up with on this? Values?
Creating a set of values that everyone sticks to.
As part of the action planning? Okay. Has anyone ever, I'm genuinely curious because I've only seen this happen once in my career. Has anyone ever had those values on the wall that they actually live and breathe on a daily basis?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? Handful of people. I'll tell you how crazy I saw it. Top Golf, anybody, y'all know Top Golf? Yeah. So I worked at Top Golf, and one of their values was teamwork. My first day, I was brought over to the Colony, and we were trying to get to the main office, and we had to walk through the downstairs restaurant. It took us 15 minutes to get through because the woman on my team was stopping to straighten chairs and pick up straw paper and napkins, and okay, I unwritten rule, I'm going to start doing it. So I'm following her and I'm cleaning up. And then afterwards I said, hey, help me understand why you did that. She's like, well, teamwork is one of our core values. Why would I leave that for housekeeping when I'm right there? I'm like, oh my God, that's stuck with me. So then from then, I'm telling a story to the C-suite about how when I go to the men's room, I'm picking towel paper up off the floor. Like I feel like I have to do it because that's the value. I went to the first training, we hire 300-400 people at a time, and I get there, and the facilitators are all in like tutus and crowns and these like flamboyant fur, and I'm like looking at one of my guys, I'm like, what's going on? It's like, well, one of our core values is fun. If fun is not embedded in our training, we're not allowed to do it. I'm like, well, you guys take these values kind of seriously, right? So, okay. We're coming up on the end because I'm getting the high sign. I could take like one or two questions before I'm hooked off of here. So anybody have any questions or comments before we bail? Was this useful? Yes. All right. Thank you.